everybody. Welcome back to The Common Theory, the internet's #1 competitive Pauper EDH podcast. You've got myself, Rohan, aka Sandwich, here with my co-host, Franklin, aka Kunx.
Hello.
What's up, man? How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's been like a short little week since we last got together. Fortunately, not much to really report other than it's like just a nice, fun week back to work,
Getting back to work.
Yeah,
holidays.
Yeah, just pretty much having like 2.5 weeks off is just enjoyable. But I also like being at home working with no one else at home.
Is your time off like my time off, where you're like doing the family thing is basically just like another job? It's just like work, but different, and it's like your vacation's kind of getting back to work.
It's awful, right? Because the only time when I don't have my son and my wife at home,
right?
It's awful to say, but it's like I love being with them, but I also don't have time to do hobby stuff while I'm supposed to be working. But I also have time to do work and hobby stuff.
It's like sugar, man. My doctor says it's too much of a good thing.
Yeah, but honestly, it's awful because like I don't like saying that I complain about them, but I would never trade it for the world, right?
Of course. Who would? Yeah, love the fam to death. However, spending every day, every waking moment for 2 weeks with them is, it's a different kind of job.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the saddle. Work's going for me. And I think the most exciting part is that it's tournament season in Magic the Gathering world. We've got a lot of stuff happening, both in CPDH land as well as, I know for us, CEDH land.
Yeah, actually, I think the GP, the Star City game GP happened over the weekend.
Yep.
Where Standard just looks really good. I've been meaning to buy a Standard deck, but the price of Screaming Nemesis just says, no, you're not going to be able to play this game for a while. Like, it keeps going up and up, and I'm like, no, they were so cheap. I should have just bought them when they were 25, but I didn't care about Standard. Because literally the rest of Gruul in Mono Red is just all the little cheapo stuff, like the Manifold Mice, Heartfire Heroes, Ember Heart, whatever it's called. But
yeah, I'm still not on the Standard train. Just Eternal formats for me. But I did recently shed a tear when I took apart my one and only Legacy deck because they banned a large chunk of it.
That's such a shame.
My frogs.
Oh wait, did they actually get rid of Psychic Frog?
Yeah.
Okay, actually, hold up. I need to stop and actually look at this. When did this happen?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't pay attention to that. The ban report. I only looked at all the modern stuff because that's what everyone else was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, boosted Sakatog is a little bit too good.
The card's busted, but I loved it so much. It's so sick. It took me back to my Psychotog days. Anyway, because of the tournament sort of season kicking off, we figured that we would talk to you guys about how we get ready for tournaments, how we prep, and, some of the tournaments that we're excited for coming up, maybe some hints about what we might be playing, and like how we're editing our lists, what we think the metas might look like, and so on and so forth. So Franklin, I guess the first question is, what tournaments are you prepping for that are coming up soon?
Right now I'm just prepping for Common Cause 7 at the end of the month. And then afterwards, I have a CEDH 7K that I'll be going to.
Hell yeah. Is that in Florida?
Yeah, that's in, I believe, Port St. Lucie.
Right on. All right, so Common Cause. That one's coming hard and fast. It's upon us.
Yeah.
Basically. It's in 2 weeks.
And by the time everyone watches, pretty much tomorrow.
1 week. Yeah, a week away. Do you know what you are playing? Is that a secret, or is it common knowledge?
No, I think it's common knowledge because I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last week in our last video, towards the very end. So it's
remind me and the listeners.
Yeah, so it's either going to be a toss-up of Weavers because Simic Untapper is just really strong, or Vhal Agent because Freed from the Real is just a really good card.
Yeah, that deck is also sick. Which version of Val Agent are you considering? Are you considering the Tony's existing tournament, tried and true style, or are you looking at the untried, maybe not true eggs version?
It's probably the untested egg brew.
Okay. So for the people out there, before we go any further, can you describe how the eggs version of that deck works? What?
No, I wish I could, but so far all I've been told is you play these artifacts, right? That you either put them down with Vhal's mana ability.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. You play them early on, and then you activate them with Vhal's mana ability because they're already on the battlefield. So you can use it. So you can use Vhal for anything and filter the mana.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Vhal has an activated. The whole shtick for Vhal is that she's got an activated ability that says tap it to add an amount of colorless mana equal to Vhal's toughness, which the baseline is 3. This mana can't be spent to cast spells from your hand. So, you can use it for activated abilities. You can also use it to cast spells from wherever else, whether it's flashback or from exile, etc.
Yeah, but we're mostly going to use it just to activate the mana filter abilities of like Chromatic Star, Chromatic Spheres.
So you're cantripping with your artifact cantripping.
Yeah. And then hopefully we find Freed from the Real or Mobilizing and then just go off. I mean, that's the plan. If not, if it doesn't work by a certain time, I'm just going all right, I'll play Weavers.
How are you untapping Vhal to get multiple activations in a turn? Just untappers, or do you have any other tech in there?
So if you want to go find this deck list that we're working on, it's actually in the Patreon supporter channel over in our Discord. So to get access to it, just become a patron of ours. We have tiers ranging from $1, $3, $10, and up to $50. With $50, you do get coaching sessions from me, Rohan, and Gator. So for untappers, looks like it is currently just free.
Well, good luck to you.
I think there was supposed to be hidden strings in here. Yeah, no. I see it now. There's hidden strings. There's a psychic puppet.
Okay, there you go. Right.
Yeah, there's a couple ways to untap it of like a whole bunch of other instants and sorceries that let you untap.
Okay.
Oh, looks like there's Vision Graph Mage will just do it too.
Okay, yeah. So all right, so there's some untappers that allow you to get multiple activations, so you can crack a few bubbles per turn.
Yeah, sorry. Just whenever it comes to the untappers, I know Freed's the one enchantment.
So by the time you have Freed, you should be winning the game.
Yeah, we have the other two wizards, the Vision Graph Mage and the Galvanic Alchemist. Again, the hardest part is finding the color filter to filter the Vhal mana into blue to just help you untap. But again, with the amount of cards that Dimir naturally draws, should be fine.
Dimir's honestly looking really good. Which kind of brings me to the next question is, what kind of meta are you expecting at Common Cause? Like, what type of decks do you either know are going to be there, or you have like a really good feeling, or think there's a high chance of showing up? And like, describe that meta to me.
Yeah, so talking to some of the people, I expect it to be like at least one Ashiok deck floating around there, which...
Really?
Yeah, at least one Ashiok and at least one Saheeli.
Yep.
Because again, they're technically both the two best planeswalkers.
I definitely think it's a Saheeli, but an Ashiok. For those people, for the folks out there listening who aren't familiar with what's going on with this year's Common Cause, can you explain why planeswalkers are?
Yeah. So the PDHRC decided to have a little bit of fun this year. So every couple of months, we're going to have a rule break month. The January rule break month is that uncommon planeswalkers are legal in the command zone.
Mm-hmm.
So all 20 of the planeswalkers from War of the Spark are legal. And looks like based on some people's testing, Saheeli Rai, I forgot the epithet, is one of the better ones, but her static ability is the same static ability as Third Path Iconoclast.
It's a Sublime Artificer.
Yeah.
That card is absolutely busted.
Yeah, I think it's just better TPI, because even though it comes in a turn later, it doesn't have a single toughness. It doesn't have one toughness, so it actually stays on the
Doesn't
battlefield.
get board wiped.
Yep.
Yep.
And Ashiok Dreamrender, which is the only one I will ever remember because I have like the Japanese art version. I love it.
Nice.
When I was playing, when I was playing Atraxa Super Friends, I had it in there. Ashiok is pretty good at stopping other people from winning because Ashiok prevents people from tutoring, and it hoses Hollow Marauder and other grave matters decks such as, like I said, Hollow Marauder, Abdels, and Mystic Enforcers. Because Ashiok says it's minus 1 or 2 loyalty. I forgot how much, but it's minus 1 or 2 loyalty. Target player mills the top 4 cards of their deck, and then you exile all graveyards.
It's minus 1 loyalty.
Yeah, that's crazy. And how much is the loyalty on it? Yeah, how much is the loyalty on it? Like 5 starting?
5. Yeah.
Yeah, and it costs one Dimir
uncommon planeswalkers are 5. Yeah, come in with 5.
Yeah, and it's one hybrid for Dimir, right?
Yep.
So you could go turn 1 Dark Rit. Here's Ashiok.
Yeah, just insane grave hate in your command zone.
Yeah, and you could just stop other people from playing.
Yeah, and I actually just looked it up of how many cards in blue at common have proliferate, and it's actually more than I thought.
You can thank Throbbing Bird for that.
10 cards that say proliferate.
How many of them were from March of the Machine? Or, sorry, all will be one.
1, 2,
I know we have at least 1 or 2.
2, 3, 4. 4.
Okay, so half of them are from...
All be one.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's even one red card that says proliferate. It's actually not bad, and I would actually totally play it in that Saheeli deck. It's a Volt Charge, 3 mana, 2 colorless, and a red for an instant that says Volt Charge deals 3 damage to any target. Proliferate. It's a little overcosted, but I feel like the proliferate is worth it.
I mean, you get a token out of it, right?
You get a token out of it, and you get an additional activation because that puts her from 5 to 6.
I mean, the tokens should do a pretty good job of protecting her own loyalty total.
Yeah, and then you play enough control spells to do with flyers, and there you go.
So again, I think I kind of went over like all of the 2 main Planeswalker decks that I expect to see, as well as the other decks. I just expect at least 1 Hollow Marauder, and then the rest is probably going to be like just new brews.
I feel like you should expect at least 1 Arabella.
Yeah, hopefully. I know our own local Arabella player I may not be playing. Hopefully we have our gut player joining too.
Yeah, is Aaron playing?
It's not Aaron. It's someone else.
What?
Actually. Yeah, I don't know what Aaron would be playing. But if he's on Sir Conrad, it would still be good. It's like playing Sir Conrad into that type of meta is still just really good.
Pretty good. I mean, Sir Conrad's is good.
Yeah, like if there's more if people are expecting more planeswalkers, then we should be expecting more creatures to combat the planeswalkers and actually punch them in the face. Yes. And if there's more creatures, then that means more things are going to die. And the more things die, Sir Conrad's happy.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other planeswalkers here that we think might be good.
There might be like 1 Watley because someone really enjoys the playstyle of Rashad. And Watley does not ask you to jump through too many hoops. And maybe someone's like trying out Simic Untapper, but instead of playing Weavers, Gretchen, or Pack Beast, they go with Kiora.
Behemoth Beckoner.
Yeah, that one.
Pretty good. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters battlefield under your control, draw a card. So it's kind of doing like a big creature, just a big creature deck, right? Like.
Yeah, and she has like -1 or -2 untapped.
Untapped target permanent. I'm trying to see if there's a way to like flicker loop that.
Does Ghostly Flicker target planeswalkers?
Flicker would work.
Yeah, but then you're just doing the flicker loop on their planeswalker to do untapper stuff.
Yeah.
So you're still going infinite. Yeah, so you're like,
it would be like you would have like land with an enchantment on it, and then you'd have Ghostly with enough enchantments on it to loop Ghostly Flicker with Arcanomancer.
Yeah, at which point, I guess it's like a backup plan in case you can't.
Land. Yeah, that land would need to tap for 4 though, which is a lot.
Like all you really need to do to tap for 4 is Wild Growth, Utopia Sprawl, one other.
If that land taps to 4 and you get Arcanomancer, Ghostly Flicker, boom, you have infinite mana with Kiora.
Yeah, that's actually not that bad because you can still
A lot of
muddle
ways to find a lot of ways to find the Mancer.
Yep, there's the two different wizard cyclers.
A lot of Mancers, right? There's like at least you play. I mean, there's more than 5, but there's like 5 playable ones. I feel like that's not too bad. It's a little clunky, but it's not the worst.
Yeah, again, I feel like if you're playing Kiora, you could just play Lily Splash Mentor and get the same thing, get the same result.
Not an instant speed.
No, it's still sorcery speed because loyalty abilities are sorcery speed. Yeah, that's why.
Right, that's bad.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's bad. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, you would probably just play Lily Splash Mentor at that point. Although, I don't know, it's 3 mana and doesn't get board wiped. And it's card advantage if you're just playing it has like a pivot. You can pivot to just big boys.
I guess you could just play big beefy boys, but
you could do big beefy boys with Archaeomancer Flicker backup loop with like Drake and whatnot.
No, if you're doing that, you're just one.
Basically, you're playing big boys, advancing your board state, hitting people, and as you play your big boys, you're drawing through your deck. Eventually, you find a combo, and boom.
Yeah, or find the capsize. Yeah, I guess
it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, we're slowly brewing this deck in real time.
It's not the worst thing. It's not. It's. I've seen worse.
I mean, we all have seen worse.
I've definitely seen worse. And if we're expecting a lot of these planeswalkers showing up, having a bunch of 4 damage attackers on your battlefield doesn't seem like the worst thing.
I still expect to see a lot more creatures coming in. That's honestly the meta that I kind of predict and seen.
Oh, Obnixilis, the Hate Twisted, is pretty interesting. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Obnixilis, the Hate Twisted, deals 1 damage to that player. So it turns off any infinite draw combos. It also just really wrecks anyone who's digging through the deck quickly.
Tutor into it.
It has sorcery speed, destroyed target creature attached to it, which also isn't the worst.
Well, no, there's a little bit more text to that too. Destroy target creature, its controller draws 2 cards.
Which is bad, but
you're also pinging them for 2, which
is good.
Yeah, the game has to end somehow.
Most people would accept a free I take 2 damage, draw 2 cards any day.
Yeah, I mean I think that's why was it an offer you can't refuse does not see that much play anymore. 1 mana counterspell, but you give them 2 treasures.
It's coming back. It's coming back in the turbo decks to fix mana. But let's see it. Black has a few 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards with proliferate. Not the best, but not the worst to play Obnixilis. I'd be interested in seeing someone try and make a group slug Obnix Planeswalker deck.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure out if there's a Planeswalker deck that could use Brood Scale.
We need to be Golgari, probably. There's only 1 Golgari Uncommon Planeswalker. It is Vraska, Swarm's Eminence. It's 4 mana, 2 colorless, 2 hybrid, green and black. For a legendary Planeswalker, Vraska comes in with 5 loyalty. Has a static ability that says whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or Planeswalker, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Then for -2, it can create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with Death Touch. And whenever this creature deals damage to a Planeswalker, destroy that Planeswalker's anti-Planeswalker deck.
Actually, I guess that would be the anti-Planeswalker meta.
It's so specific.
I mean, considering War of the Spark was, Planeswalker was Nicobolus using Planeswalkers to fight other Planeswalkers.
War of the Spark limited. It's great, but outside of that, I think that's kind of bad. At least it can protect itself with a bunch of 1/1 Death Touch assassins.
Yeah, that's true. So, actually, Rohan, if you were playing in this tournament, and this was the meta that you were expecting, and you were still, practicing playing in the Thursday night throwdowns on our server and playing on Sanctuaries, FNMs.
Mm-hmm.
How often are you editing your deck until tournament day?
It's a great question. A lot. Way too much, but it's funny because all my edits are at the very last minute. So I'm not someone who plays a lot of decks, first of all. We've talked about this a bunch of times before. My background is in fighting games, right? So for me, it's really about going deep instead of going wide. I try to pick the 1 or 2 things that I know, and I want to be the master of that one thing or those two things. You know, like in Street Fighter, it's like Vega. I'm gonna be as good as that character as possible, and then I'll have one character in the pocket, and that's like my career in that game for like 6 years. You know, and like not really deviating because like I feel like there's just such a high ceiling to just like mastering one guy, one character, right? And I feel pretty similar with the right list in CPDH that like the right deck has such a high, for me at least, like I like hard, really difficult decks generally because I want something with a really high ceiling that is going to take a really long time to master. If I ever master it, in an ideal world, it's not masterable. It's just too difficult. And that for me is the best thing. So I make very small changes with my decks. Like I really try and get good at the deck as is. And then when I do make those adjustments, it's going to be like one card that I then test like for months, right? So like right now with Malcolm Breaches, I made a bunch of changes at the last Common Cause, and since then I've been testing the deck. It's been performing extremely well. Every month to 2 months, I'll test like one swap. So like right now in like the flex slot, of which I really feel like there's only like 3 flex slots for me right now, I'm testing foil. I'm not done with foil yet. Like it's still in there. And so like when I do take this list, or as of right now, if I take this list I registered for Register Rags. It's in March. So for those out there, register in the Northeast U.S., Register Rags is in Philadelphia, Sunday, March 16th. I will be there. Chum Guzzler from Sanctuary will be there. A bunch of our friends will be there. Who else? Bobby will be there. Hive will be there. There's a bunch of us will be there. So it'll be a good time. It'll be a party. So please come out.
Yep. And common backgrounds are legal as always for Register Rags.
Backgrounds are legal. So if you want to actually bring Abdel, a not bad Abdel Blue, you can try and make that one. But anyway, so as of right now, I'm not making any changes. However, to answer your question accurately, the last half an hour before you lock in the deck, I pretty much I'll send my list out like to a bunch of our like trusted friends. I'm like, hey, what do you think about the list? What do you think about the meta? What should I expect? And in that last 30 minutes, I'll probably swap like 5 to 6 cards. And then like look at my list, contemplate it, and then probably swap them all back to the way it was, like with 1 minute to spare. I feel like that's what I do every tournament. I don't know. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It's just I'm like very unsure right before. I'm like sweating, wondering what the meta is, wondering how to counter the meta, and then at the very last second, I'll just go back to what I know. And I feel like playing what you know. At the end of the day, in your heart of hearts, despite the meta, is like your best option, unless you have meta picked, like done some like counter picking for the meta in the month before the tournament, and you've been really testing that list and you're used to it. I mean, I feel like that is actually, what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
what do you do, man? Like, what kind of changes do you make? And I guess like, it's like a 2-part question. And so like, what types of changes and how do you make your changes? And then like, what kinds of changes are you making or have you made for Common Cause?
So for Common Cause, I'm still testing out one of the decks, and then the other one is still just completely in the testing phase. But usually for other events, I'm like locked into a deck for weeks. And it's like, all right, this is a plan. This is what I'm doing. I'm not going to make any real big changes because I'm happy with how the deck does. Holy crap, in testing, I have not seen this card at all. Is there any way for us to change it? It's awful when there's a card that lives in your deck. You know it's there, never shows up.
You never see it?
Yeah, you just can't test it properly.
Tournament, and then you see it like 4 matches in a row. And you're like, oh no.
And you're just like, I didn't test this card properly because it just never showed up in testing. It only ever shows up whenever you're like doing goldfishing hands, either in paper or on Moxfield, but like in real games, it never shows up. And you're like, oh my God, why?
Yeah, do you find yourself needling just like the one card? Like one card for like weeks, you're like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna play this one card. And then you're like, for a few weeks later, you're like, you still haven't seen the card, you're like, no, I'm gonna switch it out to the way it was before. Then like a couple weeks go by, you still don't see it, and you're like, I'm going back. I feel like I do that all the time.
Yeah, that was me with Abdel Blue and like Merchant Score for the longest time, because every single time I saw it, I just wish it was a instant speed draw spell. But there is no instant speed draw spells in this format, really. And then someone in the comments is going to say, no, you're an idiot. There's a whole bunch of these.
There are some pretty decent instant speed draw spells, let me tell you.
Yeah, but was grabbing Impulse is not going to be super helpful in that situation. Because I need to see more cards.
The multiverse, my friend.
I don't like it. It's
what?
4 mana is like way too slow.
2 mana.
That's still way too slow. But yeah, in some testing, it just it's a shame where you want to go see a card that never shows up. You're thinking about swapping it out, and you're like, oh, I need to give this card its proper due because we need to test it. And then there's some games that are like, yeah, no, I wish I saw this, and then other games are like, I never got to see it, but I kind of wish it was something else. But
when you make your changes, do you consult? Like, do you send your list out to other people? Do you send it to Gator? Do you send it to anyone else? Do you send it to other players who play or who are like good players of the same commander at all, and like ask their opinion, or do you just kind of like be in the tank on your own and kind of like test things on your own?
I mostly just ask Gator because he's going to be right next to me, or like already in the group chat saying, "Hey, we have to swap this out." For like the Weavers list, that list is set for like until something major happens. I don't think Weaver's really going to get changed all too much. Like we made one swap in the list.
What card?
We put Capsize in there, just like as a permanent bounce.
Hell yeah.
Why
weren't you playing it in the first place is the real question.
Because it didn't need it before.
What makes you say that? Like, what do you think? Why is Capsize in there now? I guess part 2 of that question is it mostly being used as an infinite outlet, or is it mostly just being used as a piece of interaction?
No, it's purely interaction.
And then the outlet's upside.
Yeah, the outlet is just it's mostly just getting rid of problematic cards on the battlefield that can't be interacted normally.
What kind of things are you looking to hit?
It's mostly anti-Ashiok tech.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I
hate stuff.
Well, yeah. I don't care so much about the grave hate stuff. It's mostly if I have a couple tutors in hand, I need to move the Ashiok out of the way.
You're right. Yep.
Plus, worst comes to worst, I can do a little bit more board control because the deck already makes a butt ton of mana naturally. So I have nothing to do. I can go Capsize, buyback, move this thing out of the way.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because the card it was before was Utter Insignificance.
Which only hits creatures. So.
Yeah, exactly. Even though we said earlier that we expected to see a more creature-heavy meta, creatures is not what Weaver's worries about. It's going to be, not being able to tutor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big deal. How does that deck win, the Ashiok deck?
It wins, I believe it wins through the Flicker combo. Still, at the end of the day, it's still just Dimir good stuff.
I'm going to predict that deck, when it's at a table, those tables will go to a draw.
Hopefully, we'll have a video out soon about considering time. Because we have to save this conversation for later. But talking with Gator and one of his friends, he did mention that playing on Moxfield does save you time on shuffling. Yep. But again, that's going to be a conversation for later.
Before we move on, are you prepping the same way? Would you prep the same way that you do for CPDH as you do for CEDH? And if not, why?
It's the same mindset, right? It's still tournament commander, even though that word doesn't really mean much anymore. But
are you also like how often are you playtesting these decks and getting ready for your tournament? Like weekly, daily?
I try to at least get 1 to 5 games in a week. That's honestly that's the harder part.
Nice.
Because with my schedule, trying to find CEDH games firing off at 9 or 10 at night, it's a little bit rough.
And are you testing your CPDH decks at the same clip?
I try to, but fortunately that's a lot easier because we have the dedicated playtime on Thursdays. As well as was around the same time, 9 or 10, there's usually 1 or 2 people trying to find a CPDH game.
Yep. And have you tested both your Weavers and Vhal decks?
So far, just Weavers. Vhal is still experimental.
Something tells me maybe that's not the deck that you should play if you want to win.
Look, man, I've done crazier things. At a CEDH tournament back in I think June or July, whenever the Dothy Voidwalker was the store championship, I 100% planned on registering Winota, playing Winota, and then I backed out and played Jundargo and won.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny because all I needed to see on Twitter was Ian Flannery, or a comedian, saying that he went, was it O&X with Winota? I'm like, okay, this is not happening today.
Had you played that Jundargo list before or no?
No, I did. That was like my main deck.
You had
for like,
played it. Okay.
Yeah, that was my main list for like a couple months at that
least
point.
You played it. Yeah, but if you haven't played the Vhal list, I feel like maybe...
No, I have. It's still just, still needs to get like some work done on it.
Got it. I'm not playing Common Cause, but I am prepping for, as I mentioned, Riches to Rags in March.
Yeah.
So I have registered, and I will be very upfront with all of you. It's not a secret. I will be playing my Malcolm Breaches list, because last year, if anyone who was there is listening, I went 0-4. It was really bad. It was really, really sad. I just lost to myself. I gave up games. I gave up like 3 games because I misplayed. It's just my own damn fault because I didn't know the deck.
Yeah, but you have a lot more games under your belt now.
Yeah. I barely played the deck. I played it like 2 or 3 times before entering the tournament, and I did not know what I was doing. But now we've got probably like over 100 games under my belt since then. So
yeah, I know, that's great. But I do have a question for you. So we've only been strictly talking about what we do in the game. How do you prepare for tournaments outside of the game? So what'd you do like the night before, the morning of?
Oh yeah,
the week leading up to the tournament?
Sure. Yeah. I keep a pretty tight schedule on my own outside of Magic, right? Like I've talked about it before. I'm a runner. I do marathon stuff. I do a lot of long distance running. So my like running schedule and like my gym schedule and even like what I eat, I'm like very regimented. It's very careful. So like I just kind of apply that same thinking to getting ready for tournaments or any kind of event. Basically, I treat a tournament like I do like a race that I'm running in the morning. I go to sleep early. I make sure that I'm super well hydrated, not just the day of, but the day before. Like I'm drinking plenty of water the day before because that matters. That carries into your next day. It'll make you feel less tired. It'll make you feel sharper. So drink lots of water the day before. I make sure that I'm eating well. Once again, not just the day of, but the day before. Like I eat really good the day before. I go to the gym, I work out or run the day before too. I get some exercise in. That way I know I can get to sleep early. I eat early for dinner. I go to bed, keep any kind of alcohol to a minimum.
Yeah.
A lot of the times if we're like traveling for a tournament, we'll have like an Airbnb with a bunch of friends, and we'll be playing Magic and drinking and stuff. But I'll keep my alcohol at least like the day before the tournament to like a 1, maybe 2 drink max, and like keep them pretty separated from each other. So that way I'm pretty well hydrated. And I'm of course drinking tons of water in between. And then, go to sleep super early and then wake up early before the tournament, depending on what time the tournament is. If it's like after 10 o'clock and I don't have to travel very far to get there, like if I'm staying somewhere nearby and it's like quick, either the same hotel or like a 5-minute drive, then I'll go running in the morning before the tournament. Because like for me, that gets me really, really sharp. It makes my brain juices start working immediately, and I feel really, really good when I play after working out. But if it's like really early, then it's just about getting up early, getting breakfast, making sure I get enough fuel in the tank to fuel the brain, and coffee, water, and then get there. Oh yeah, also make sure to have some snacks and stuff on me, just because I don't really know like what kind of breaks I'm going to get, how long my games are going to go, and like when I can actually run out to get food. Yeah, if that's even possible. In like an ideal world, at least for like the bigger CDH tournaments and stuff, a lot of the times they're catered, which is amazing. But for smaller tournaments, that's really not an option. Not all the tournaments I plan are in a city or in like an urban environment where there's like food nearby, and some of them are just out in the boonies. So like, there's nothing to do, right? Like, just bring your food with you. So I usually try and bring like some like high protein snacks, like protein bars, and some fruits, like an apple or banana or something like that. And then maybe like some nuts or something to snack on while I'm playing if I just get hungry and I, need something. Because like, man, I'm telling you, like I played so many tournaments where I was starving. Like, especially anything that starts late, and I skip dinner to go there. Like, if there's like an event that starts at like 5 p.m. and it's gonna go till like 11 or midnight.
Oh, yeah, no,
and, like,
those get worse.
Dinner,
those get bad, yeah.
oh man, and there's like no time in between rounds to go get food. By like 7, 8 o'clock, I am dying, and I know at that point that I am making plays that are probably bad because I'm just so hungry and I'm just so over it. I'm just like, I don't care. Just end the match so I can go get some pizza. God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've done that just once of saying, hey, can we just do a draw just so we can go eat lunch?
Yeah. I've definitely done that. Like, please draw this game. It's like, yeah, especially if it's like top 6T or like top 8 and it's like untimed rounds in top 8 or something, and almost like 2 hours in, I'm like, oh my God, kill me now.
Again, that's I hate to say it here, but that's why I don't like playing casual Commander all too much, because like after 90 minutes, my brain just goes, please, this game has to end.
Checked out.
I want to leave. I want to leave this game.
Yeah.
But that's the one nice thing playing at like an esports cafe or a bar. There's just food readily available for you, or like just drinks.
That's the best. And it's also, I'm like super excited once again for those who are near or local to Philly. Riches to Rags at Queen and Rook Cafe in Philly. In South Philly is like an awesome venue. It is the nicest LGS you've ever been to. It's not really an LGS, it's a full restaurant and an LGS all at the same time, but it's gorgeous, and they have amazing food and like a lot of vegan and gluten-free options and stuff. And also they have beer on tap, so you can like get food and a drink, and you can play all at once. It's going to be lit. So that'll be sick. Yeah, exactly. If you can get to an event that has like fresh food, that's like the grail. That's insane.
Yeah, because I've had, was it like a couple of locals down here in South Florida, someone like brings up barbecue. I'm like, oh, cool, but I can't really eat this, but it's great.
The hands.
No, they actually have like the little fork, like Wolverine claws.
Yeah. That's really funny. It's cute.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? I think with that, Rohan, any closing thoughts for today?
Yeah, I mean, like for your tournaments, yeah, don't play hungry, don't play tired, moderate your drinking. You know, after the tournament's over, go ham. You deserve it. You just played 8 hours of Magic.
Yeah, because usually for me, I just try to same thing as you. Go to sleep. Have a really good, well rested night. In the morning, just like eat eggs, like a crap ton of eggs. So it's again high protein foods, and just like, you know, make sure that your body and your brain is well fueled. Yeah,
enough stuff to get you through the day. Basically, you know, you're like front loading your meals for this like marathon of an event. You know, like I'm once again, like I run marathons, but like a whole day of Magic takes it out of me almost just as much as like a whole day of running.
Yeah, because you have to like look at your hand and actually think. I try to not eat carbs during tournaments because
you get sleepy.
Carbs just kill me.
You'll get sleepy. Yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah, caffeine, protein.
Yeah, so like good energy drinks help out. Coffee.
Yep.
If coffee makes you sleepy, go. Congratulations.
Problems.
No, I was gonna say congratulations on your undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's all. That's pretty much all I've got. How about yourself?
Just for everyone who's made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, leave a like down below. Hit subscribe. If you're listening to us over on Spotify, thank you for supporting us over there. We're almost at 400 followers over on TikTok. We're over posting on Blue Sky. And every Thursday we play PDH games local on our Discord server. So if you want to get games with us, go there. So with that, everyone, thank you. Have a great week.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you for watching. And if you want to support the channel, please subscribe and join the Discord in our link below. And become a member over on our Patreon. Shout out to all of our patrons: Eric, Aaron, Dax, Devin, NYC Burrito, Little Rad Lotad, Frank, Scoob, HZ, William, and Cobraman. Thank you for all of your support.